Hi, it's Loren Lockman from the Tanglewood Wellness Center. I've been asked this morning to talk a little bit about, is it okay to eat primarily acid fruits? Would that be an issue? When we're looking at the acid content of a food sitting on the table, you want to understand that that's very different than what happens when you digest that food. So all acid fruits are alkaline forming in the body. So while we don't want to acidify the system, eating acid fruits doesn't acidify the system. Okay? Acid fruits perfectly ripened on the plant wouldn't be a problem to consume from the standpoint of your overall body's health. No problem at all. There are a couple potential issues, and there are really more issues about the way people eat them and the quality of the food that people are eating. So, as I may have mentioned to you guys before, years ago, probably 10 or 12 years ago, I knew a guy who ran the second largest organic produce distribution company on the east coast of the U.S., operated from New York to Florida. And he said that although they did the best they could, it took roughly 6 weeks from the time something was picked until it wound up on the store shelf, on average, okay, with fruit. 6 weeks. Now think about that. Pick a ripe peach, plum, banana, papaya, mango. What's it going to look like in 6 weeks? You're going to essentially have a pile of goo, aren't you? So if you pick it right. So how are they picking these things to ship them to get on the shelf 6 weeks later? Clearly they're picking them before they're properly ripened. That's a problem no matter what you're eating. No matter whether it's acid, subacid, sweet, it's going to be an issue. But from the standpoint of over-acidity, not in your body so much as in your mouth with your teeth, it's much more of a problem with acid fruits because they're going to have a much higher acid content if they're eaten before they're fully ripened. So there are those people, I've heard stories. I've actually rarely met anyone who's really had any significant dental problems as a result of eating fruit, but some people claim to. I've heard stories, and there are a couple of issues. This is probably going to be more about teeth than about acid fruits, because again, from the standpoint of, if you're eating fully, properly ripened fruit and doing it correctly, I'll explain in a minute, should be no problem if they're acid fruits. If all you had was acid fruits, there's probably no reason you couldn't thrive on that. However, because most people are eating fruit most of the time that wasn't tree ripened, wasn't ripened properly, it's usually going to be overly acidic. And relying primarily on acid fruits, if they're overly acidic because they weren't ripened properly, is potentially going to create some problems for your teeth. Especially for people who make the mistake of grazing all day long. Now, how many of you like to eat a little bit throughout the day? Anyone ever done that? Okay. This creates a serious problem for our teeth. And it creates a problem for our teeth because when we eat fruit, acid, subacid fruit, not so much sweet fruit, melons may not do much because of the relatively low acid content, almost negligible. What happens is the fruit actually takes a microscopically thin layer of enamel off your teeth. Well, isn't that destroying your teeth? Well, it all depends how frequently you're eating. See, if we eat when we're hungry, and then we stop and we eat until we're satisfied, which, again, is not going to happen with one peach, right? But if you eat until your body says, that's enough food for now, that's good, and then you wait till you're hungry again, you're going to eat no more than 2 or 3 times a day, most people, which means 4 to 6 hours between meals. It takes 2 to 3 hours for your body to recreate that enamel. So, surprisingly, while people say or think fruit is bad for their teeth because of the sugar, there was a study published a few years ago that said that eating an orange or an apple was more than 3 times as effective as brushing your teeth to remove plaque, because it's taking this microscopically thin layer of enamel off your teeth. Where's the plaque live? On top of your teeth. So if you're removing that top layer of enamel, you're removing the plaque with it. The problem then is created by a couple of behaviors that are unnatural to humans. One of them is eating consistently throughout the day. The second one, look at primates. Look at our close primate relatives. They are communal animals. They live in groups, and they tend to eat together as a group. They don't eat throughout the day, not very much. It's mostly as a group, a couple times a day. So if we were doing the same thing, there'd be plenty of time for your teeth to rebuild the enamel, and it would cost you nothing. But what if you're eating an orange every hour? Every single hour you're taking enamel off your teeth and never having a chance to rebuild it. And then people exacerbate the problem, because what do people think? Fruit, a lot of sugar. I need to go brush my teeth. Well, brush your teeth while the enamel is soft, and guess what? You take it off even faster. Okay? So in nature, how many animals do you think are brushing their teeth after they eat? Not so many. There's really poor toothbrush distribution in the jungle. Okay? They just don't have access to toothbrushes. Otherwise they'd be doing it, I'm sure. They got tons of toothpaste but no toothbrushes. Anyway, so if you want to brush your teeth, and while your body's cleansing, you might feel like you need to brush your teeth, right? Because you might still have a bad taste in your mouth sometimes, or a coated tongue, whatever it is. What you might want to do is brush your teeth when you wake up, or brush your teeth before you eat, not after you eat. Okay, brush your teeth before you eat, not after. If you do that, and or don't eat throughout the day, don't eat consistently, eat a couple times, give your body plenty of time, it shouldn't really be an issue. Now, while we're talking about this, what do you think happens if you're only eating a couple times a day, but throughout the day you're putting lemon or lime juice in your water? Say again?
Same thing.
We're creating this very much the same issue, right? And people often don't even think about this, but a couple of things are happening that you might not be aware of. First of all, can a couple of drops of lemon or lime juice affect the pH of your water very much? Well, much more than you'd suspect. The pH scale is a logarithmic scale. So pure water has a pH of 7. Lemon and lime juice has a pH of around 2. What does that mean? Well, a pH of 6 is 10 times more acidic than water. A pH of 5 is 100 times more acidic. A pH of 4 is 1,000 times. A pH of 3, 10,000. A pH of 2 is 100,000 times more acidic than water. It doesn't take very many drops of lemon or lime juice to dramatically increase the acidity of the water, where to the extent that water is going to have an impact on your teeth. Okay, so if you're drinking it all the time, you're having an impact on your teeth. There's something else going on though that many people don't realize. Anytime you put any calories or nutrients in your mouth, your body thinks there's food coming. And so according to one expert, roughly 1/3, 30% of your body's energy is immediately shunted to your digestive tract to prepare it to digest and assimilate. Even if there's nothing coming. There's no food coming. This happens if you're chewing gum. Okay, this happens if you're eating little tiny things. I mean, my suggestion would be, as a rule, don't eat between meals. Even you're hungry, stop and you're satisfied. That means 2-3 times a day maximum. Every once in a while, it's okay to go outside of that. Remember, it's what you do consistently that's going to create your results. So if every single day you're eating all day, that's not going to work. If every once in a while you have a snack between meals, that's going to be fine. Nothing to be concerned about. But in fact, you might want to wait to do that until you get to where you want to go. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that next. So these are the primary issues with eating anything that's highly acidic. It's not so much a problem of how it works inside the body, because again, acid fruits, citrus, pineapples, kiwis, strawberries, etc., all these things that have a relatively high amount of acid, tomatoes, citric acid, when you consume them, they're alkaline forming. Okay, so they're not moving your body to become more acidic, but they are a potential problem for your teeth. All right, questions about that?
What's the point of brushing your teeth before eating?
the point of brushing your teeth before eating, if you have a bad taste in your mouth, okay, if it feels bad and you want to clear that out of your mouth, do it before you eat, not after. Theoretically, if our systems were clean and we were only eating optimally, we would probably rarely need to brush our teeth. Okay, yeah.
Can you just squish with water after you eat a fruit meal? Like not brush your teeth, but just squish your mouth with water, or is that not?
I don't know how to squish my mouth.
I mean
I know what you
squish
mean.
water.
You can take some water in your mouth and swish it around,
Yeah.
or squish it around if you like.
Whatever.
You can do anything that rhymes with ish.
Yeah.
Fine. Yeah. You can do that.
Okay.
Sure. That's okay. It's the action of rubbing
Okay.
your teeth. And by the way, one more thing. Everyone probably already knows this, but if you are going to use a toothbrush, you want to use a soft bristle brush only. Okay. When I was younger, I thought, I'm going to use a hard bristle brush. I'm going to brush as hard as I can to get those teeth really, really clean. Right? Not really a good idea. Again, think about this. We're not designed to be brushing our teeth at all. This isn't something we theoretically should need to do, and using something that's really hard is going to have an abrasive effect on the teeth. It's going to wear them down faster. Similarly, people talk about using things like salt, brushing their teeth with salt. You know what salt is, right? You know where salt comes from? Well, it was originally all under the ocean, which means, by the way, that sea salt is just salt that was wet more recently than other salt. All salt came out of the ocean at some point in time. But salt is mined. Like copper, gold, other rock minerals. It's an inorganic mineral. It's like a rock. If we smash it into tiny little pieces, it's still really hard and is very abrasive. Don't brush your teeth with that. Okay, you don't need it. The soft brush and water is really all you need. How about these dental powders that some people promote heavily? The people that recommend them are typically the people who promote them. Okay, they make
soda too.
Yeah, right. You don't need any of these things. You don't need any of them. And will putting baking soda in your mouth help alkalinize your body? No, of course not. This is symptomatic. Okay, it might have an impact on the tissue right in your mouth, but what you want to do is create a healthy pH from the inside out. Get your body clean, feed it properly. The rest takes care of itself. If we're trying to micromanage symptoms, including our pH, we have missed the boat. We're stuck in the same trap as most people. This is mainstream medical thinking, which many people use with alternative practices, but the same thinking. Okay, mainstream medical thinking never works, no matter what mode you're using, no matter what the method is. It's the thinking that's off track. It's just not going to work. Okay, we don't need to do that. Anytime we're trying to manipulate the body into creating a particular outcome, we are creating side effects. Always unintended and always negative. All right, so the best we can do is to get out of the way, meet the body's natural needs. What does the body need? Does it need a toothbrush? Does it need salt? Baking soda? No. What it needs is for us to feed it properly. It needs enough rest. It needs sunlight. It needs these things. Meet those needs. It needs to cleanse itself, right? Needs to do those things. That's really all we need to do. Any other questions about that? No? Any other questions about squishing anything? No? I hope that's been beneficial.